Hello and welcome. Our top focus today is on Mozambique. The southern African country has inaugurated its new president, despite months of anti-government protests and violence that have left over 300 dead. Daniel Chapo of the ruling Frelimo party took oath as the president in a ceremony attended by over 2,000 people. He vowed to consolidate national unity amid an outcry over the presidential poll, the results which declared him the winner with a big majority.
I, Daniel Francisco Chapo, swear on my honor to respect and enforce the Constitution, to fulfill faithfully the office of President of the Republic of Mozambique, to devote all my energies to the defense, promotion and consolidation of national unity, human rights, democracy, and the well-being of the Mozambican people, and to do justice to all citizens.
Chapo's victory has extended his Frelimo's party's rule to almost 50 years. But the presidential runner-up and opposition leader Venancio Mondlane says the mandate has been stolen from him. Mondlane, for months, has mobilized protests against the poll result while being in a self-imposed exile. He returned to the capital last week and called for a national strike in the days leading up to the inauguration. He has threatened to curtail the new government with daily demonstrations.
So, how will this end? This is a typical example of how this government is not a government of peace, how this regime does not want peace. And if they don't want peace, it means we will not back down because of this. It means this term, if necessary, will be filled with protest 365 days a year. We'll protest every single day. If it means paralyzing the country for the entire term, we will paralyze it for the entire term. Let's see how they plan to govern this.
Security was beefed up in Maputo while the inauguration ceremony was taking place. Roads were blocked in the capital. The swearing-in ceremony was expected to be snubbed by foreign heads of state amid the violence. However, neighboring South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa was at the ceremony. A day before the ceremony, the parliamentary lawmakers were sworn in amid relative calm, as streets were mostly deserted amid calls for protests. Still, at least 6 people were reportedly killed in the capital. As per reports, new President Chapo, who is expected to announce his new government this week, could make concessions by appointing opposition members to ministerial posts to quell the unrest. He has also said in the past that he wants dialogue with Mondlane over the election results. Mondlane, after returning from exile, also said he is ready for talks. But analysts say that Mondlane's return could further complicate the situation in the country. Many businesses have been vandalized and looted amid the chaos, while cross-border trade has been disrupted. There has also been an impact on the country's mining industry, risking the loss of trust of foreign investors and firms. And there are still concerns the unrest could spill over to other nations in the region, creating a wider crisis. As opposition vows to paralyze the nation under Chapo's rule, how will the new president navigate the crisis going forward? Now, for more on this, we have with us Wilke Diaz, a political analyst and an election observer. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Wilke, will Daniel Chapo being sworn in amidst the opposition boycott and the nationwide strike threats, what does this mean for the political stability of Mozambique in the coming months? Can Frelimo maintain control without addressing the opposition grievances?
So I think the first thing we can say is today the most part of Mozambican people have some hope. It will be a very happy day, but in the history of our democracy, it's a very sad day. Very sad day because at the same time we saw the inauguration in the independence place. We also have some people are shooting by the police next, close to the independence place, and other in the other neighborhoods in Mozambique. For now, We have for today 7 people dead, not only in Maputo but also in Nampula province. So this is the one signal, because at the same time we have people in the streets are organized in groups to demonstrate in some parts. For example, if you go to in Maputo, we have in Machava, we have in Wish Cabral, and etc. On these places, we have a part of that group to try to make some demonstration. I think this is the one signal to said Daniel Chapo, maybe he don't have the simple things to take up our debt responsibility during these next years. I think the first thing he need to do is to try to create a condition for one dialogue with the Venancio Mondlane, the opposition leader. I think it's not only Daniel Chapo to make that decision, but also the Frelimo party. It's the one very important element to try to
Yes.
To try to create that condition to dialogue with Venancio Mondlane and the opposition parties.
Right. The opposition leader's call for a nationwide strike highlights the significant dissatisfaction with the electoral process. How likely is this to gain traction among the population, and could it lead to a broader movement against the government?
I think the most part of I start with the people in the streets. So many people right now are very satisfied because that results don't reflect on the electoral truth during this process. This is the first thing to do. Second, to talk about the opposition, I think we have one division. We have one part of that opposition or created adult problems. We have, for example, the principal party right now of the opposition. It's Podemos. Venancio Mondlane are not with Podemos right now. We have one separation with these two actors, but Podemos also go to the inauguration. Leader go to that inauguration today and go to inauguration in the parliament before yesterday. So that is the one signal of our type of political parties we have in Mozambique in the opposition. The most part of that parties don't give any importance to the people to try to make some corrections in our electoral system, but it's not only in our electoral system, but in the democratic process. And we have the proof, because the opposition, the president of Podemos said at before yesterday, he going to take a place he go to the inauguration because the problems in Mozambique in the electoral time happens all time. So for him, it's very normal. So I think if you want some strong democratic process in Mozambique, it's very important to try to cut that all problems. That is the one point I can say right now.
Right. Right. And how are international observers and neighboring countries responding to the contested election and today's inauguration? Could this lead to increased diplomatic or economic pressure on Mozambique?
We have 2 points. The first point to see the sensibility of the international community. It's very important to look at the numbers of the leaders of the countries or presidents of some countries we saw in the inauguration. Only 2. That is the one signal. There's a signal to say the situation in Mozambique, it's not good for now. A second thing we can say right now, it's we don't see, for example, you not see some ambassadors in the inauguration today, for example, of some countries. This is the one response of the civil society action also, because we try to show what's happening in Mozambique. The electoral fraud is not the electoral fraud, but it's the violation of human rights inside of this whole process. And we share some letters for that leaders. And it's not only thing to do. We put yesterday one action in the African Court, African Commission of Human Rights in African Court. In the other part, we put one other actions to the African Union to try to stop, for example, to not recognize that a new government to try to have some new elections. It's not for defend Frelimo or Podemos, Venancio Mondlane or Daniel Chapo. The only thing most important for us is the true electoral truth. And this is why I said it's very important, a difficult process, because we have some leaders have some sensibility of this and other not. Because if you look, for example, in our region here in SADC, we have only one president, and this is the one reflection of the impact that a problem created in the all our region.
Right. Well, thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa and for your valued insights and analysis on all the latest coming out of Mozambique.
Thank you so much.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.